Hey guys, here is the gear. I'm going to do Sandpiper again because we're testing out the lather. I'm going to do it a little bit differently this time. I have been doing kind of dry loads lately, the last few shaves, as an experiment. And with this particular soap, it gave me a lather that I wasn't really used to from the Stirling Beef Tallow base. And so I'm going to fall back this time using the same brush as last time, the Omega, I think it's the 80266. And I'm going to use a different razor because that doesn't matter as much in lather creation, but we're going to use my normal method of hydrating, which is coming at the soap with a lightly wet brush instead of just a damp brush, so the brush will have more water in it. And so that's what we're going to try today. But I wanted to use my Wolfman Guerrilla closed comb with the same blade as yesterday, because this is a blade that I kind of classify as a little bit sharper than others. At least that's the way it seems to me. And so kind of along the lines of the feather blade family. And so a mild razor, notoriously mild, is the Guerrilla. Is a great place to put a really kind of sharp, extra sharp razor blade. This one has about 5 or 6 uses on it, so we'll put it in. And this was, I believe, the first time I had ever seen because the Game Changer, I don't think had come out yet from Razor Rock. And so I think this is the first time I had ever seen a razor where you put the blade on top of the base plate first, because it's what has the posts. The posts are not in the top cap like it has been with so many other razors. So that did present an issue for some, but really it's something you get used to pretty quick. And it does line up everything perfectly, so tolerances are just right with this razor, as usual with Wolfman. Get my face wet. Now, as I think about loading, I don't think I could do an exact equivalent comparison, because we're going to be working this with more water, which means I shouldn't need to load for as long. If the brush has a little bit more water in it, then until you get to a lot of water in it, then actually it decreases your load time, at least where I'm talking about right now. And so let's just go for the usual 30-second load with Stirling. That seems to be 45 rolled around right there. That's an easy number to count. And sure enough, I may have actually not shaken this guy out as much as no, I think I did. Yep. So we've got that slurry forming. This doesn't happen when I come at it with just a damp brush. And then we'll go to the 15 mark, but we'll go to 16 actually, since we didn't start exactly at 45. And there we go. So that is 30 seconds of loading. And yep, you get some extra goo. And I did put some of that extra on my face, kind of like a pre-wash. And so as we mix together this early stuff, we'll definitely see a little bit more thinness right away, because we don't have that concentrate like we did with the dry load. But my theory and my curious question is, that dry load, did it somehow change the lather a little bit? Did it make it more airy? Because it sure felt wetter. It sure looked fine, but then it kind of died on my face in some respects. And this is kind of typical for starting out with this kind of mix. And we'll take from our little jigger. $17-20 milliliters seems to be about right. A typical amount during my normal standard Stirling lather for me. And 27 is more like what I was doing with the dryer load, which makes sense since you're not starting off with this much water. And right away we get some nice, wet, slick looking stuff, but it's not mature yet. We need to keep going with it because I got a feeling we'll need to add some more water. I can feel as I press the brush down into the bowl a little bit, not a full splay at all, but I can feel the kind of the bottom half of the bristles providing that backbone. And see, now that early wet lather is combining with more of the water and it's getting thicker. And it continues to develop and get more creamy as we go. And so where am I on my, let's take a little borathon check up here, because this brush is in my borathon list. So the 80266 is right up here, and yeah, now with this use, it'll be 27 uses, and so it'll come up tied with my other most used bores in the borathon. So I'll put him on pause, and after that I can start treating him. You can see I've put 2 hairdryer treatments on the 1800, one on the 1305, and so the 1250 I think is going to be my next shave, so that we can even him out, bring him up to 26. It's really fun seeing the, here's that 1305. You can just see that the tips are splitting and it takes on a more soft appearance with the hairdryer treatments. It seems so far to be a positive thing. I resisted for a long time doing this kind of thing, but it seems to help these bores to move along a little quicker. And I'll say again that if you only have one brush and it's a bore, you don't have to do that. You could do 1 or 2 treatments if you really wanted to have those tips start splitting. But honestly, because you have such a small rotation, you're going to be able to put in a lot of uses on the brush, and that's going to help it to split safely and fully and all that. Yeah, see, we're still not too wet. Now let's see if we can get it to kind of have the same. Oh yeah, see, that's actually a little bit more. Oh, that's probably about the same as it was the other day. Moving about the same speed. Now let's see if this one is a better lather. Wouldn't that be interesting if a drier load somehow did something to the lather? And I could see that. See, when you take a brush that has enough wetness to it, to the tub of soap, and you start working it over there, when it pulls soap up, if it's able to kind of match it with some water, not all the water it needs to make a great lather, but some, then maybe it's better at the emulsion process, where if you come in kind of dry and there's not enough water to mix, then you're kind of picking up soap chunks, maybe micro chunks. I'm just guessing here. And so then maybe it tends to kind of whip it up instead of getting a little creaminess going. Just guessing. All right, I think we're good to go. So let me get my face wet. And this 80266 is a funny little bore that I've told this about every time I've used it, probably. funny little boar that came to me as in kind of a mixed lot of shaving goods. And I tell you what, knowing that this guy's going to split and get even better, I don't like many Omegas compared to my Smogs and Zeniths, but with the seemingly finer nature of these hairs and the more comfortable nature, and it's less prickly, I bet I could make a living with this one. Now, see, already this is a richer lather. It's not going to dissipate anytime soon. That is very interesting. I wonder, now, of course, maybe I loaded more soap this time. There's all kinds of variables. So it's definitely not a conclusive test. But let's just see if that bears out. We'll keep doing some dry loads and just kind of see if that does actually look to be a trend with maybe the airiness of the lather. And even when it looks right, it's maybe a little too wet. And what could you do to combat that other than start out with more water in your brush? I think maybe a more mix time potentially to work that emulsion together. I don't know. Okay, so just for grins, what we started out with is about 23 milliliters of water in the lather. And let's take the magic combo, we hope, of sharp blade and mild razor. About a day's worth of shave here. Oh, that's nice. That is very nice. Managing that blade very well. Definitely a denser lather than I had yesterday for sure. Well, it proves something. You know what it proves? You probably pick up more soap more quickly with a little bit more water on your brush than just a damp brush. But, each to his own. There we go. Matter of fact, this lather kind of needs some more water, but this rinse I'm about to is probably going to help that out. I have way more lather in my bowl here than I did yesterday. This is the second pass, and I've got 3 or 4 more passes in there, and it's richer too. But I left my face kind of wet, and so maybe we'll equalize a little bit, end up with a lather even slicker than the first pass. I do still feel the backbone here. And if I did too much face work, I could see how it could generate, if I was using a razor that was too aggressive, it could maybe give me some brush burn. Cross grain for me is this way on my cheeks. Nice razor glide and movement. I do definitely feel the blade edge. This is a terrific daily shaver. It came around right when I was coming into the hobby. Thanks to a fellow shaver's good advice, I bought one because at the time Wolfman had a really long wait list. And James, who's the Wolfman guy, brought in a helper, I think, and that helper was the one who was assisting in the production of the Guerrillas. But it was one where it was just a normal retail price. You could get on the Wolfman site, place the order, no wait list or anything like that. And I did, and I'm so glad that I did, because it wasn't too long before he would quit making those. Face feels nice. I could quit after these 2 passes right here. I don't feel a lot of secondary slickness, so that's a little bit more of a testimony that this lather here could use a little bit more water. It's really quite creamy the way it is. Matter of fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to take that little bit of lather that you saw on my hand, and that is what I'm going to shave this third pass with. I may just kind of flick my face with a little bit of water. So you don't need tons and tons of lather, just that nice, slick. Sometimes it could be an invisible layer up against your skin, and I'm not getting any irritation or anything like that. And the razor feels like it's gliding on grease, meaning it's very slick and moving easily. Yeah, that worked just fine. And sometimes if you're in that situation and you run out of lather, you can just take what's left on your face, add a little bit of water to it, and sometimes you can liven it up and be able to go a little bit more or just touch up a certain spot using that method. Excellent. Give my face a rinse now. Yeah, but before that, let's show you the soap. We're looking at least 3 more passes. So I loaded for 15 seconds less than yesterday, and I ended up with 1 or 2 passes more of better lather, richer lather. So that tells us something, right? I'm not saying it's wrong to do the dry load, but it seems to be different. So here's what this little brush, the 80266 from Omega, looks like. It does have a little bit of built-in splay here coming out of the knot. Semogue with this 1250, you can see it builds in a little bit more of a cone shape. The 1305 seems to have even more. There are some, like this Zenith, where it's all, no, this one actually does have a bump that you can feel squeezing in the side that's above the handle here. But the other one that I have that's a Boar, that's this same handle, the bristles seem to come out and come out in parallel. So that definitely presents you with a different amount of backbone, all of the things being equal. But for now at least, he's staying pretty concise, and so now we can take our magical shaving Sharpie and put another use tick on the 80266. So he is now at 27 uses. And so yeah, I can start hair drying him now, since he's now in the same track as the 1305 and the 1800, right? Is that right? Yes. Yes. Now again, just a reminder that these Semogues I'm using, unfortunately, the Excelsior line has kind of gone out of date now, because what you buy now when you go to get a 1305 and an 1800 is the Hereditas line, which is different. And it does have, the 1305 used to have premium grade bristles along with the 830 brush from Semogue, but now they call it extra premium. And so I think that's going to be actually less than premium, because I think it's more like the extra grade than just the premium. But I need to contact Semogue, because what if it's actually the same thing? What if they're calling this the premium grade? What if they're calling it extra premium? I need to find that out for sure. Or maybe it's a downgrade. I'm not quite certain about that. All right, well, face feels good. I do feel just a little bit of, of tightness. My skin doesn't feel quite as heavy, but I haven't rinsed anything yet. So there's that, and I think that'll be just fine. I think I got a great shave. There was still a little bit of edginess with this, even in this mild razor. So I think this razor is really good for a lot of other blades too, at least for me. The Sandpiper, I used it EDT yesterday after the shave, and more of the warmer notes started to surface, and those sometimes those warmer notes that are kind of low on the scent intensity spectrum, sometimes those can really get hidden by a soap. And I think I've seen that with other makers as well, but they're not hidden in the EDT. And that kind of surprised me because that aspect, since I didn't find it in the soap, jumped out at me a little bit more. And I did enjoy wearing it for the rest of that day yesterday. So, great experience today with the black, with the 7 o'clock Gillette black. From in the razor from Wolfman. Very nice. And for post shave today, let's do Zingari Man Explorer. It's got a little bit of citrus, woods, and vetiver, and I think that should go with what we're wearing now. Put a few drops of water on my oh no, I need to go and do a full rinse before I do that. As I was bending down rinsing just now, you know what I noticed was that the Sandpiper seems to have some of those, I don't know, dry, warm, arid, spicy notes like the Oro Valley, the new seasonal release, has from Stirling. So now we're going to put on that Zingari Man balm. With freshly wet skin, a little can go a long way. If you have dry skin, though, you'll want to use more than just two squirts like I am here. Probably. I don't know how you dry skin, folks. I don't know how you have to, what's necessary for you to take care of your dry skin. That's just a guess. All right. Excellent. So I'll let my skin kind of settle. No, I don't have to let my skin settle down because I like to put the Sandpiper EDT or any EDT in general on my wrists, especially when I'm working, because then as I'm thinking at my computer, as I'm typing, my hands are moving around. And so sometimes I don't have the scent near me, and then sometimes I do. And so that helps you not to go nose blind to it, which is great. And so throughout the day, for the next 10 hours, I'm going to be enjoying this scent. So in that sense, Sandpiper, I could see it being a nice fall scent. That warmth, that kind of, it's not spicy in the sense of peppery, but spicy in the sense of full of flavor, if you will. That I don't think that lends itself quite as much to a summery type of scent, but really it could definitely be in the summer. But I think I especially like this type of thing in the not blazing hot weather. That's me. Hey, the cigar update is I'm enjoying some cigars. I'm working myself through a couple of cheapy samplers. I just got a box of Swisher Sweets in. The Perfectos, which is the one that looks mostly like a cigar, and the reason for me getting them is because of nostalgia. I think my dad smoked some of those when I was a kid. I can remember seeing those around, and I think the smell is reminding me a little bit about of my years gone by. It's not a great cigar, but it is cheap, less than $1 each, and so that's good. You know, you need something. I think most guys might enjoy something where they're not trying to cherish and savor the cigar, but they just have it while they're doing stuff, or just or they may want to take a cigar break, but they don't want to. They may have to cut it short, and so that's the kind of cigar you can cut short a little bit easier than some big expensive, a $10 Nicaraguan full on guy. All right, well, that was a good shave. My face feels great. I don't feel any irritation now, just a few minutes after the shave. Yeah, smelling good, nice close cut, comfortable. It's a pretty good match of razor and blade. I bet in 4 more uses, it'll probably be even better because it'll smooth out just a little bit. There's probably a couple of blades out there that are better than this black inside of the inside the Guerrilla, because it did show some edginess, but most people aren't going to have a problem with that at all. Matter of fact, a lot of people might think that's still a little too mild or smooth or something like that. Excellent, very good. So we, in terms of my little experiment, like I told you, this lather was creamier and richer, and we'll just see through some more testing if we can nail down if that's a pattern with the dry load versus the a little bit more of a wet load. And I'm not even talking about a lot of people do a load that's a lot more wet, where they pull their brush out and it's just dripping and it's sopping wet, and all they do is one or two shakes, and so they're keeping a lot of the water in there. I do quite a number of shakes to where very few more drips are coming out, and so I'm not even talking about a really wet brush coming into the soap. So there we go. Well, Sandpiper sure was an enjoyable one to do 3 shaves on. I really did like that. That's a terrific scent. Will I continue with Stirling next time? Who knows? I definitely have some more Stirling that I could enjoy. Again, we're celebrating Stirling this season because in recent January here, 2022, was Stirling's 10th anniversary of being a business, and they're just such a great asset to our shaving community. And I've covered many things about them. Today, I was reminded of by a commenter on one of my videos, and he loved something about Stirling in that not a lot of people offer refill pucks along with the full pucks. Matter of fact, be right back. When you get an order from Stirling, it's likely to look like this. They shrink wrap it all together, throw it in a box, put the packing material around it, and off it goes. Well, this is what a sample of shaving soap looks like from Stirling. And this happens to be black cherry, and I've taken a couple of chunks out of it. And a lot of people find this lasts them a month. If you want to use it straight, then you could take a little bowl, or you could even, I don't advise you using your lather bowl, because by the time to press it all into, because then that turns it into a loading bowl instead of a mature lather bowl, because there needs to be a time where you work the lather together without adding more soap to it. But you could just take a coffee mug or anything and make it and press all this into the bottom, and then you'd use it until it's done. You can do that, or you can be like me and some other shavers. We take a 1/4 teaspoon and then we hook that out, and that'll give you plenty of lather for your shave. So this is what you get when you order a Stirling sample. And then this is what you get when you order the full 6-ounce tub. Other makers, this particular container is very common among different makers. It happens to be the one that Southern Witchcrafts is using, and it's a 4-ounce tub, and you can maybe hopefully see how it actually looks like it has the same cap, but the underneath maybe a little bit less kind of thing. And so it's just a little bit smaller. And then Stirling also on its seasonals will have this, a 3-ounce tub. So here's the size of the 6-ounce tub, and this is the 3-ounce amount. And but that's just for seasonals. And then here are those 4-ounce refill pucks. And so you can save a few dollars. You don't have to buy another plastic tub. If you use all of a certain soap soap up, then you don't have to buy another plastic tub. You can buy the refill puck, press it down. It presses down easily into your old empty tub, and there you go. Or if you have like a black tub like this that you got from another soap that you emptied, maybe you've pulled the label off, then I have done this before. I've taken the label off of the refill puck and put that on the surface of the tub, and then this gets pressed into. And what are these? This is Glastonbury and a refill for Port-au-Prince, because this is an order I made because I was wanting to make sure that I got more mutton tallow. I don't know how long Stirling's going to be able to keep making mutton tallow because those prices are rising. Hopefully the prices go back down and we don't have anything to worry about. But it's an even better base than the Stirling beef tallow. And I really like the Glastonbury and Port-au-Prince scents, as well as the Varin. And so I wanted to make sure I had backups. And so that's what this order is. All right, guys. Just celebrating Stirling. The 4 ounces, the 6 ounces, the sample. It's a great way to go. They're helping our community a lot because what's going on here is that this soap costs sometimes a third of some of the higher end soaps. But the performance, I know of one higher end soap where this is a third of the cost, almost a third of the cost, a little bit less than a third, a little bit more than a third of the cost, but it performs a lot better, in my opinion. The other ones, it doesn't get as creamy, doesn't hold water as well, kind of feels fuzzy. And this one is more creamy and slick. But a lot of them, like Barrister and Mann and Declaration Grooming, Noble Otter, those guys, they're more expensive and they may be better performing, but not as much as the price is different. Stirling may be 5% or 10% less in terms of performance, but it's a half or better in terms of price. So that's a great deal. All right, there we go. And no, I do not get any kickbacks from Stirling. The only free stuff I get from Stirling are these free samples that they send when I order products and I pay for my own money. They send a free little soap sample here, hand soap. That is the only kickback, quote unquote, that I get. It's funny. There's some people in different forums and they diss YouTubers. And the good news is they're probably not talking about me. I'm not nearly as popular as other folks out there. And so they think they're shills and they never have anything negative to say about products because they want to make sure that they keep the products flowing in, X brand, keep sending me your stuff, your new stuff so that I can review it, and I'll keep giving positive reviews. It may not be a spoken deal, but that's definitely the claim that some of the guys, some people are making. I don't think they're well-informed people. There are definitely guys out there. It's true that there are plenty of YouTubers out there who don't have too much critical to say. I'm definitely not in that group. I've had some critical things to say often, and sometimes open my big mouth, and it's not very nice. I could be a little bit more tactful, but I try to call it like I see it because the authenticity is what I'm going for. And even if Stirling were to send me stuff for free, I would, I don't know, maybe I would use it and then pivot to somebody else, and that way I'm not really benefiting from it. I don't really know what I do. I'm not in that position yet. If I ever become that way, but you know what? I have been the benefactor, of some of you guys' generosity. That's why I've got some samples over there from C&F, Cooper and French, that Refined Shave sent me just out of the generosity of his heart. I've got an aftershave right here from Alex that I've used many times, and just out of the kindness of his heart. Terrific. And I could probably lay my hands on 10 different things just in my general vicinity here that were gifts from you guys. I think you appreciate my channel. You appreciate what I bring to the table, and then you are just so nice to me. I appreciate it so much. Well, there we go. I've also been monitoring my face, and it feels great. A little rinse off and a balm. I'm in awesome shape. It feels healthy. It feels a little tacky as that balm will soak in. The Zingari Men balm is top notch. So healthy, nice feeling face, close shave, smelling great. What's not to like? There we go. All right, guys, you take care. This is Sugar Daddy Shaves. I hope that this video has got something good in it to help you along. Take care now.